let me take a step back. There is an ongoing investigation with respect to an unauthorized entry into Houston's system.
There you just heard MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred discussing the ongoing investigation into the St. Louis Cardinals for allegedly hacking into the Houston Astros computer database. That's a great place to bring in our roundtable.
And please welcome to our roundtable, second hour, of investigative reporter from the Washington Examiner, Sarah Westwood, and attorney Adam Thompson. Thank you both for being with us here today. Sarah will be with you in 1 second, but first, Adam, let me ask you here. This is a little bit curious, I think. When you look at everything going on in the world today, the fact that the FBI is now involved with a baseball hacking operation, what does it say to you about the current state of professional sports?
I don't know where to go with this. I mean, we see all kind of genetics going on in different sports. You know, the Patriots always at the center of spying on other teams, trying to get information about other teams. So we've seen it happen before. The big question here is, now we're talking about Cyberland. It really hasn't been a case, at least as far as we know, that the publicized professional sports team is hacked into the database of another team to steal information. What information they were trying to steal is still in question. What we do know is regarding player personnel information, it can be invaluable.
All right, Adam, I'm going to interrupt you because we're having some problems with our connection with you, so we're going to try to work on that. But let's go to Sarah and let's get your thoughts on this. As John kind of put it, does this kind of deflate the Deflategate scandal a little bit?
Absolutely. I mean, here we're talking about criminal behavior, not just unethical behavior. The FBI is involved in looking into these charges, and it just shows how sort of in baseball, but in all professional sports, it's sort of moved on from becoming a game, and now that it's a multi-billion-dollar enterprise, people get really serious, and people are now resorting to corporate espionage to steal information, as we've seen, that might embarrass a top official at a rival team.
Yeah, we want to stress, just accused of that. We don't know that for a fact. But
we talk so much, too, about China in their corporate espionage here in this country, but I want to talk about Tom Verducci, a senior writer for Sports Illustrated. He has a different idea about what might be behind this hacking.
Most of the information was actually leaked online, having to do with some previous trade discussions that Luno had with other clubs. If you're interested in gaining a competitive advantage, you would not publish the information publicly. Instead, that's what's being done here, and it seems to be motivated by trying to embarrass a former Cardinals executive.
So what do you think? The motivation is just embarrassment here, Sarah?
Well, as we know, Luno is sort of a controversial figure. He was brought in as part of that whole Moneyball wave to sort of shake things up, first at the Cardinals and now he's at the Astros, and his tactics have been seen as controversial in the past. He's subverted, money from traditional things that managers might spend it on, like payroll for top name players, and put that money into analytics and growing, the farm teams for the baseball team. So certainly he has rubbed people the wrong way in the industry, and he's also made a lot of friends, but he is a polarizing figure, and that could be one reason why this alleged hack took place.
There was another little interesting nugget about this story that was passed on to me from our senior magazine editor, David Patton. He emailed it out yesterday, pointing out the fact that Jim Crane, the owner of the Astros, is a golfing buddy of President Obama's. Meantime, the owner of the Cardinals had bundled some money for President George W. Bush in the past. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist here. It might sound like a conspiracy, but considering this is part of the FBI's investigation, anything seem suspicious to you at all, Sarah, about the fact that this is the kind of case that's being pursued by the FBI? It seems serious, but...
Well, the fact that these two gentlemen that you just mentioned are closely involved with a former president and a current president just shows how high profile they are and how big of a deal it is that they are involved in something of this nature. It just definitely shows that they're powerful men and there are powerful things at stake here right now.
Let's bring back in attorney Adam Thompson. Are you there? I think we...
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
You guys can hear me better.
Much better, Adam.
Much better. Okay, we want to get you to weigh in on this conversation. As John just brought up, there's some kind of connection between the owner of Astros, who's actually a golfing buddy with President Obama, and then there was another connection with Cardinals to former President George W. Bush. So we wanted to get your thoughts on that, on how powerful the sporting industry is right now.
I don't think there's going to be any connection. I think this has nothing to really do with politics. I think if people want to pull espionage acts to try to get, information about certain people who are connected to political leaders, they would do it differently than going through Major League Baseball teams. I think this is just about personal staff from the Cardinals when a former administrator there left and went to the Houston Astros. There might have been beef between some of the personnel, and they were just trying to get information from that database involving this other employee.
Well,
I think that's really going to be the gist of it, really nothing more. But still, it's a cyber attack, and it will be dealt with, and it does affect the integrity of the game of baseball because you're stealing confidential and private information from another
Adam,
team.
well, you did mention the cyber attack, and this has been one of the things the Obama administration has talked about. We need to get tougher on these cyber attacks. We'll see what comes. Adam Thompson, Sarah Westwood, thanks so much for being with us.
And please welcome back to our roundtable investigative reporter for the Washington Examiner, Sarah Westwood. Alongside him, attorney Adam Thompson. Thank you both for rejoining us for round two.
Let's talk about Joyce Mitchell and the ongoing manhunt in upstate New York.
Wow.
A lot of focus on Joyce Mitchell. Take a listen to this.
Law enforcement sources confirmed to CBS News that Mitchell told investigators she had sex multiple times with Richard Matt inside the prison. On Sunday, Clinton County District Attorney Andrew Wiley would not confirm a sexual relationship, but said this.
Obviously, Joyce Mitchell went a step further, a relationship with these two individuals, whether it's showing them more attention than anyone else, or them showing her attention or affection.
All right, this is one of the more interesting parts of this investigation.
I just want to know, how does that happen? First of all, I don't even know how they were able to escape and nobody noticed, because
well, we can't really ask the how question to Sarah or Adam, but I do have a question for Adam.
Adam would probably, he's a lawyer.
This is not unheard of, right, Adam?
Listen, there's been things like this that happened in the past. What makes this so unusual is, first of all, this is a pretty secure prison. For her, number one, to be able to have sex with an inmate in this type of facility where there's multiple layers of security. You're talking about multiple guards in one cell block, cameras on that cell block, guards watching the cameras in that cell block, and so on and so forth. The fact that she was able to get alone with this inmate and have sex is amazing to me, that no one knew. I think maybe someone knew but didn't report it, but that's a whole nother issue. The other issue is her motivation behind this. Supposedly the information coming in is that she was getting close to these inmates with the hopes of helping and assisting them to escape for something in return. And it isn't necessarily the sexual favors, it's that she potentially wanted her husband killed, or supposedly something along those lines, which takes this to a whole nother criminal investigation level, because now you have assisting a breakout, but now you also have a potential attempt murder charge through using these inmates.
Sarah, does this also expose, you look at the Joyce Mitchell case, but does it expose a bigger issue in our prison systems here in this country where something like this could actually happen? Because I would imagine, we talked about in this past, this is not the first incident of a prison worker having a relationship with an inmate, but this does make you scratch your head.
Absolutely. There's all this focus on the relationship with Joyce Mitchell because it sort of seems ripped straight out of a movie. But the bigger issue at play here is that, first of all, these inmates are still at large. There are over 800 police officers and detectives looking for these individuals, and they haven't been found, which is just amazing that with the full force of government resources, they haven't been found. And second of all, that they were able to escape from this prison in the first place, and that nothing untoward was noted before they escaped, and only now, all of this is coming to light. So it just shows that perhaps some of our federal prisons aren't as secure as we might like to believe, and our state prisons as well.
Yeah, this is a state-run facility, the Clinton Correctional Institute, but
Clinton's upstate New York. Let me add one thing to this.
Sure,
aside from just the fact of the escape, there's so many other infractions that go on involving prison guards that, when you look at it collectively, you really have to start asking questions. Because there's so many people that bring drugs into prisons, weapons into prisons, inmates within the prison facilities working with the guards to attack other inmates that create a hassle for them. I mean, the problem is really systemic, and it's huge. It's very widespread.
Yeah, the sexual aspect of this does grab a lot of people's attention, but you hit the nail on the head there, Adam. Huge issues. Also, inmates getting cell phones. sneaked inside prisons as well, to another huge issue.
Yeah, I still can't wrap my brain around the fact that these men were able to use power tools and nobody noticed. But that aside, John, you were talking to me about this, and maybe you guys have heard this, Sarah and Adam, but there are apparently multiple dating sites for women and men looking to meet an inmate. Why not, right? This one, meetaninmate.com, where inmates post their biographies and men and women are able to write to them. Some disclose their reason for incarceration, some not so much. Sarah, I just can't wrap my brain around this. I really can't. Why would anyone want to meet someone that's in prison?
That's a great
Are you
question.
throwing
I mean,
that my
to
way?
each their own, but it's
You'll
sort
get
of
your turn,
You'll
Adam.
get your turn,
highlights
Adam.
another issue, or not necessarily a problem, but that the online dating industry is booming. You even have a website for farmers dating farmers. I mean, there's a dating website for you to even have extramarital affairs. So it's sort of taking the online dating industry to new heights there.
Adam,
Or new lows, perhaps. Adam, next word to you.
Right. You're right 100%. This makes absolutely no sense. Unless you had a relationship with the person going in prior, so there's some foundation. If this is how you initially are going to start a relationship with someone you never met through the mail, a known felon, maybe a violent felon, there's 1,000 better ways to doing this.
You're right, Adam. You are so right. And unfortunately, we got to wrap it up right there. We want to thank you both for playing on this roundtable. It's been great to have you here. Sarah Westwood, the Washington Examiner, and attorney Adam Thompson. Great to see you both. All right, so who are you supporting in the Republican primary? Tell us online at Newsmax's Republican primary poll. Vote online today at newsmaxpolls.com. That's newsmaxpolls.com. We'll be right back with much more right after this.